Hi, everybody. So today I just wanted to share with you something that I've been looking at, a journal article or a research article about um, uh, whether writing by Chat GPT could be understood to be plagiarized writing. And so I think with most of our focus now on whether whether GPT written material could be detected with AI content detectors. For some reason, I guess I've forgotten, or many of us, I think, that are interested in this question in relationship to AI and education, we've kind of forgotten whether the work itself can be understood to be plagiarized. So I found an interesting article that I want to share with you to just quickly not do a deep dive, but do a kind of just a quick gloss regarding the content and the I guess the significance of the article. So this is an article that's published in Archive, which is it's not a journal, but it's a repository for research before publication or pre-publication. And this is an article that was published just on February 8th, so just a few weeks ago. And the title is called "Will ChatGPT Get You Caught? Rethinking of Plagiarism Detection." And here it is. It's written by Mohammad, Khalil, and Erkan. I guess one of them is at the Center for Science of Learning and Technology at University of Bergen in Norway, and the other is in the Middle East Technical University in Turkey. So it's pre-publication, so it hasn't been quote unquote peer reviewed, but it is published through this pre-publication website that's hosted by Cornell University, and it has a more of a focus on, if you will, science and technical issues or technology issues than it does on, say, social science. But anyways, what's interesting about, I think, this article is I was reading it, and what I want to share with you today is that it does something that I think many people have forgotten to do in their rush to figure out whether the GPT writing can be detected by things like GPT-0 or the other, if you will, AI content detectors. We've forgotten whether the content itself could actually still be understood to be plagiarized. So yes, many detectors now can find that the writing is machine written, but those detectors don't tell you whether it can pass muster in terms of it not stealing or borrowing uncited content, right? Because that's actually what ChatGPT does. ChatGPT, in fact, is blending things that it has read, right? We don't know what it's read because it is, as we understand, a generative pre-trained transformer, which is in fact unsupervised scraping the internet, right? So we don't know what it has scraped and how it is, if you will, recombining those words. But this article does do that. Okay, so what they did is they basically asked GPT in this research project to write 50 500-word essays. So they asked ChatGPT to write 50 500-word essays, 25 of which are really focused on, if you will, very technical issues. Here are the essay topics: cloud storage, massive open online courses, internet revolution, so on and so forth. And then the other 25 focused more on, if you will, arts and humanities and social science questions, things like flipped versus traditional lecturing, cultures of the Middle East, so on and so forth. So more social science in the second sample, and in the first sample, more technical writing. And what is interesting, I think, for me, is they used two things. They submitted their machine written essays to Turnitin, which is very popular. We know what that is, of course. That's a very well-known plagiarism detection service. And then the other is they also used iThenticate, which I'm not familiar with, but I suspect it's also similar to Turnitin. In a sense, it's a plagiarism checker. Okay, so what they found in their so I'll go back to their essay. What they found when they submitted the first 25 articles to iThenticate is that iThenticate found that there was high originality. Here it says they have high originality to the essays, right? So not similar to other content, if you will, that it has, right? So it says here, from the first result set, it's clear that the essays generated by ChatGPT contain highly original content and would not face plagiarism issues if they were student submissions for an assignment. So that's for these more, if you will, scientific or technical writing essays. However, what is interesting, when they looked at the second set of essays that they wrote, because they wrote two sets, 25 that they submitted to iThenticate and 25 that they submitted to Turnitin. Turnitin had essays that were more in the realm of social science. And here it is what is interesting. It says, in comparison to the first set, where only 3 essays had similarity scores between 20 and 40%, a significant increase in instances of lack of originality was observed in the second set, right, with 6 essays displaying problematic similarity scores. Additionally, a striking case of plagiarism was identified in one of the essays as it displayed a high similarity score of over 40% of other existing content. So I think that is something for us to be concerned about, or for us to, you know, capture our attention, because I think, and I'll stop sharing the screen. So I think what is interesting for me in looking at this brief study by these 2 researchers based in Norway and in Turkey is that in our sort of excitement to understand whether or not content generated by the machine can be detected by other machines, we've forgotten to actually even ask whether or not the work, whether the work is plagiarized. And so I think in the second set of 25 essays, this preliminary essay, right, because it's not peer reviewed yet, it hasn't been published, but it's published on the Cornell University website, and they have, if you will, checks and balances to make sure that their, if you will, their statistical survey and study is correct. But it does, I think, give us a preliminary, I think, window into this bigger question of whether or not the material that GPT is producing for us as users of GPT, or in this case, Bing or Edge browser, whether that material is plagiarized. And I think this is a disturbing, this is a disturbing result, because many of the essays that are in the realm of social science, not so much in natural science or in technology or in computer science, but the social science essays seem to have more similarity scores. And so that is something I think that we should be aware of. So this is opening up my eyes, and it makes me think that the next thing that I should test is whether or not these results can be duplicated with other types of essays that that I and others could generate. So that's definitely food for thought, and is an important development. So my hat's off to these 2 researchers in Norway and Turkey. A great first paper, and I'm excited to read more in the future.